Well, DC fan gives hope. I just got these books delivered. What was that? You got Hawkman, Crimson Kryptonite, and what's that one? Oh, a Justice League International book. I don't know how many books they've got in that collection. What is something like 100 and book is that? 77, but there's around about 80 books, right? And it's about £11 each or something. So that's £8. It's costly, and I'm cutting back on a lot of stuff. I'm going to cut back on Sky because I'm just after other things now, and that's the thing. People's priorities change. You want to make a big change in your life, you've got to sacrifice stuff. If you've got aims in life, if you've got stuff you want to do to help change things, you've got to make sacrifices. And after seeing this film, wow, okay, word to the wise though, it is a 15 certificate. So I think over in America that means nobody under 15 should be watching that film. In America, I don't know, R-rated might be a wee bit, I think R-rated might be a 12 over here, so it'd be the one above R-rated or something, I'm not sure. But what did I think of the film? Fantastic. I loved it. It was erotic, powerful. Yes, it gave me that sort of sensation down there, okay? It turned me the hell on. But was it some sort of rude, dirty film? No, wasn't anything like that. It was more sort of psychological sort of stuff. And let's face it, the guy had two women, but it was two women that he respected. And I'm not going to give too much of the plot away because you can always look it up in Wikipedia. But if you're a DC fan or any fan of true stories or whatever, then Professor Marston and the Wonder Woman is definitely a movie to check out, comic fan or non-comic fan, because it's a good film for this day and age. Because for those who didn't know, William Marston was the one who, along with his wife, helped create the lie detector test, and that is why you have the golden lasso of truth. Okay, now in his earlier publications of Wonder Woman, yes, you could say they were submissive. Wonder Woman getting tied up, getting spanked and hit and stuff. But once you've seen this film, you'll see those stories in a new light, and what this psychological, what this professor wanted to teach the world, and it was actually to teach the world to respect women, and that he was actually aiming. His thoughts were to have a woman elected as president because he believes with women in charge, the world would be a much better place. He also believed in a woman's rights to, have an abortion and stuff like that. He was off with the suffragettes. Suffragettes were a group of people who started in England, Britain, that just wanted equal rights for women. So there was a lot, and his wife was a professor as well, but because she was a woman, again, wasn't looked at the same way. And after watching this film, I and partner, I don't think we can see Wonder Woman in the same light. We always knew that Wonder Woman stood for love and truth and everything else. But after seeing this film, it means a lot more than that. And I'm dying to tell you more about his life story, but this friendship here between the professor and the two women, you could believe that a relationship like the three of them that had together was true love, and and the film isn't filmed in a way that any guy would probably say the lucky bastard. Okay, because he's got two women. It was nothing about that. It was very mutual respect for each other. It wasn't showboating, and he had and there's a scene in it where they're looking at some form of early pornography, but he wasn't seeing it as pornography. He was seeing it in what he calls the disc theory, four categories that sort of can surmise the human race. And when he was looking at this sort of pornography, he can say, this is how people's minds work. So, if you like to be turned on, if you like true stories, and if you like Wonder Woman, then definitely get this film. And if you're a friend of mine, I would definitely make you watch this and give you a loan. Now, on to the other subject matter. As you may notice, I put a link up here. There's a link that I might have flashed after. This is 6:55. Okay, so I'm going to put it on now. 7 minutes in. I put a link up here. And after you watch that video, you can see how sort of biased this guy is. Okay, now he's standing in front of a bookcase, and it has Batman books, yes, but then you look at the other two bookshelves, it's Marvel. So for him talking about the future of DCEU, tells me, you know, I'm not going to like whatever he's got to say, because he's talking about the future of the films and how things are planned. And what gets me about people that look into the future of films that I get made is every studio has ideas and plans and gets things put in motion. Okay, they'll say, okay, we want to do a Flash movie, we want to do this movie, and people will send in the scripts, people will send in ideas, and then the studio gets interested and see, well, let's see what we can do, let's see how we can develop it, we'll look into it. Then as soon as that's done, word gets out that that movie is now planned. Oh, there's going to be a Flash movie. It hasn't even reached production, it hasn't been started. Oh no, a script's been handed in just for general ideas for a movie, but it's not set in stone. The only time you hear of a movie said that they were going to make is when some sort of website comes out and says it, but no studio has said it. So you got to wait until a studio says we're starting production, or we're starting post production, or whatnot. That is when you believe it's getting made. Not 2 years from now they're going to make a Wonder Woman movie or something. Okay, you don't believe that nonsense. Okay, because nothing's been handed in. It was just an idea being passed around the office. Now Marvel has got Kevin Feige. Okay, Kevin Feige has a wee idea. We'll make this movie, that movie, and that one. How do we put it against? I don't care. Whatever Kevin Feige wants, we'll put it together, and we don't really care much about story. So what we'll do is we'll get any Tom, Dick, or Harry director in to direct it, and we'll get Kevin Feige to make sure that he puts in the same lame ass sort of tone to every movie. Whereas DC, I've been trying to get a story, a good story, and the right sort of director to make every film a standalone. You know, it doesn't all feel like you're watching the same movie. That no director should actually have to follow another director's example, because that will really damage that director's own input if he has to feel like he has to follow on by somebody else. Okay, if it works for Marvel, that's fine for them. It seems to be okay. It's like watching your own TV series. Okay, you're going to get the same stuff. But let's face it, after so many years of watching the season, sometimes you just want it to end. You know, that's why Infinity War was so popular, is because they believe, oh, finally we're coming to the end. Right? So this guy then goes on and he talks about Cyborg. Does he want a Cyborg movie? So, I mean, do we honestly want a Cyborg? Yes, we do. Did we actually want a Black Panther movie? To be honest, I've never ever heard of Black Panther before the film came out. And it's still not really interested me, because I'm not invested in the big Marvel universe. The only ones that interested me in the Marvel universe was Spidey and Hulk, and they totally destroyed Spidey and Hulk in the Marvel movies as far as I'm concerned. What else? So yeah, I mean Cyborg. So let me think. He's half machine, you know, a wee bit like RoboCop. He has no private parts. Probably cannot sleep. He's black. He's got a father that doesn't sort of think too much of him, and until his father makes him into some sort of Frankenstein monster. Does that sound like a compelling story? Bloody hell it does. Yes, I would love to see that whole story. Yep. Let's see, what else did he say? He talked about how DC can't, you know, plan on ahead or something, and how he made, what was it, that Marvel can put two films together, like Ragnarok and World War Hulk, and make one movie. And was it a good movie? Or was it another comedy, taking away the essence of what Ragnarok actually was, taking away what Planet Hulk actually was, you know, and you had this mishmash of something completely different. So he was then going to say, oh, why make this standalone Joker movie? That will confuse the public. Do we actually want a Joker origin movie? Yeah. I bet you the people that have read comics for the last 50 odd years would, you know, would like somehow DC given the word, you know, given the go word to say, well, here's a version of how the Joker started. Yes, you could say that the Batman with Jack Nicholson was how that was Joker's origin, but at the time I can always remember DC saying no, Jack Napier wasn't. That's not the real story. Then you had the Killing Joke. Then you had this comedian with the red hood, and he was a comedian, and he just went crazy because nobody found him funny and stuff like that, and fell into a tub of acid, fell in with a bad crowd into the acid and made him crazy. So, but if you take a Joker that is well loved by billions of people, that wear T-shirts, and people love the Jack Nicholson, people love the Heath Ledger, people will grow to love Jared Leto, which I do. I just believe he just needs more time on it. So yeah, if I'm going to see a maniac who's sick in the head, twisted, and become this iconic character like Freddy Krueger and Chucky, yeah, I want a Joker origin movie. DC is most famous for their villains, unlike Marvel's villains, who are pretty weak. So, what else? And then you're talking about the mishmash of films. What are you talking about? Are you talking about the Suicide Squad to mixed in with a Harley Quinn movie? What are you doing? Are you talking about Gotham Sirens? Or Birds of Prey, mixing them two? What is it you're actually talking about? You believe that DC can't do that? And as I say, I've just watched this about strong women, so I'm sure they can pull off a Harley Quinn movie and Suicide, because DC has got lots of strong women, and with the Wonder Woman coming out, you know, it's just, this guy was just talking rubbish, and he showed himself up by then he mentions Ben Affleck. Oh, he should just walk away. He's done with that, and all that, so to speak. And I'm thinking, these are the people. Okay, me. Okay, I'm coming across as biased. Okay, because, but not, to be honest, not really. Because, do you see any Marvel books behind me? No. That isn't the be all of my collection, but I have billions, over 30 years of graphic novels and comics upstairs. Okay, this just arrived today. But do you see any Marvel books? No. Why do you not see Marvel books? Because they're there in the back end of the cupboard, hiding. Okay, my Spider-Man and my Hulk books, and they're all at the back, because I've read them. They're okay, but give me DC any day. Now, that is me saying it. Okay, so yes, you're listening to maybe what you call biased, but I'm not going to pass myself off as somebody that is thinking, or trying to pass himself off as somebody that loves both sides of the fence, and that because that person loves both sides of the fence, that you should take his word better over anybody else's, because he somehow is trying to pass himself off as a guy that loves both equally. No. Okay? No. Those people are very few and far between. Okay? And I don't, there might be fans out there that claim to like Marvel and DC, but again, I don't get that. I don't believe they actually exist. I think they like to believe that they're a Marvel and DC fan. But then what I would ask them to do is count how many comic books they have for either side. And I bet you one outweighs more than the other by a very large margin. So that's my thoughts. Please check that link out. I'll try and put a wee video right about here and there for the trailer for this and that guy again. Thank you.